Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we turn corporate jargon into common sense, and sometimes, just sometimes, we find a little surprise hiding in plain sight. Today, we're diving into National Energy Services Reunited Corp's latest report, and it looks like the 17th of February 2026 was a pretty busy day for them. So basically, Nebraska SR, that is National Energy Services Reunited Corp, put out their earnings report for the end of 2025 and the full year. They're telling everyone about their financial health, how much money they made, and other important business stuff. It is all about letting investors and the public know what has been going on. Before we jump in, if you love getting the real story behind these corporate filings without all the fluff, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you want to chat with fellow number crunchers and corporate geeks, join our Discord community. The link is in the description below. Okay, so this is where they're sharing their news. The company, Nebraska SR, put out a press release on the 17th of February 2026. This release talks about their financial results for the last part of 2025 and for the entire year. They also posted this on their website for everyone to see. Think of it as their official announcement to the world about how they did financially. To make sure people really understand the numbers, they also held a conference call. This is pretty standard for big companies. They invite investors, analysts, and even the media to listen in. It is a chance for the company's leaders to explain the results in more detail and answer questions. Now, when companies report their numbers, they usually follow rules called GAAP, which stands for Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. It is like a consistent way to count money so everyone is speaking the same language. But sometimes companies also talk about numbers that aren't strictly GAAP. These are called non-GAAP financial measures. NESR is telling us that in their news release and during the call, they might talk about these non-GAAP numbers. They're basically saying that these other numbers are good to look at, but you should always compare them back to the official GAAP numbers to get the full picture. They make sure to include explanations called reconciliations, so you can see how those non-GAAP numbers connect to the GAAP ones. Then there is this section, item 7.01, which is about Regulation FD. Now, Regulation FD is a rule that makes sure all investors get the same important information at the same time. It stops companies from giving secret tips to a select few. So, by including their press release here, they're officially making that information public and available to everyone. Following the rules, it is like them saying, hey, we've told everyone about this. And here it is in our official filing. Looking at what is registered with the stock market, their main thing is ordinary shares. These are the basic stocks that people buy and sell. The symbol for these shares is NESR, and they are traded on the NASDAQ Capital Market, which is a well-known stock exchange. This is the company we are looking at, National Energy Services Reunited Corp. They are based in British Virgin Islands, but their main office for executive operations is in Houston, Texas. This is like their tax ID number, making sure they are properly registered for tax purposes in the United States. This number is assigned by the US Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, and helps track their filings. Pretty straightforward. Finally, we get to the end of the filing where they list all the supporting documents. The most important exhibit here is number 99.1, which is the actual press release with all the financial results from the 17th of February 2026. This is where the real meat of the financial story lies, and it is incorporated into this report for everyone to see. Let's dig into that press release, Exhibit 99.1. When companies put out their earnings reports, the big question is always about the numbers. How did they perform? Did they grow? Did they shrink? It is like checking the vital signs of the business. So, what is the story here? National Energy Services Reunited Corp, or NESR, released its financial results for the fourth quarter and the full year of 2025. They announced their earnings on the 17th of February, 2026. While the filing itself doesn't detail the specific numbers in a table, it points us to the press release where those financials are laid out. In this filing, we are presented with an overview indicating that financial results were released. The critical part is that these results are referenced and incorporated into the filing, providing the substance of their performance. Think of it this way. The 8K filing is the official notification that the information is available. The press release is where you find the juicy details. So, when they talk about financial results, we assume the press release provided key metrics like revenue, net income, earnings per share, and possibly some debt information. For the full year 2025, it is important to understand how NESR performed compared to 2024. Were sales up or down? Did they make more profit or less? These are the questions that tell us if the company is moving in the right direction. For instance, if their revenue saw a 10% increase, that means for every $10 they made last year, they're now making 11. Conversely, a 10% drop would mean losing one out of every $10 in revenue, Although the specific figures for revenue and profit are embedded within the reference press release and not directly presented in a table within this particular document's text, the implication of its existence and incorporation is that these crucial financial underpinnings have been disclosed by NESR. The strategic importance of this filing is to ensure transparency regarding the company's financial standing. We would typically expect to see year-over-year comparisons highlighting growth or contraction and indicators of profitability. The fact that they are discussing these results implies they are ready to share their performance metrics with the market. Now let's think about the context. NESR operates in the energy services sector. This industry can be quite cyclical, meaning it often goes up and down with oil prices and overall economic activity. So when looking at their results, it is useful to consider what was happening in the energy market during 2025. Were energy prices high, boosting demand for their services, or were they low, putting pressure on their business? The filing also mentions a conference call to discuss these results. This is a critical event for investors. It is where the management team can elaborate on the numbers, explain any significant changes, and talk about their future plans. They might discuss successful projects, new contracts, or challenges they faced. This is also where they might address any non-GAAP financial measures, which can sometimes be used to present a rosier picture than GAAP figures alone would suggest. It is important to listen closely and understand how these measures relate to their core business performance, regarding risks and opportunities. The energy sector as a whole is navigating significant shifts, including the transition to cleaner energy sources. NESR's ability to adapt its services and offerings to meet these evolving demands will be a key factor in its long-term success. Are they investing in new technologies? Are they expanding into new markets? These are the kinds of questions that investors will be looking for answers to. For example, if they've secured contracts for projects related to renewable energy infrastructure, that could be a significant growth opportunity outside their traditional business. In terms of our overall assessment of NESR based on this filing, it is primarily a signal that they are reporting their performance. The real analysis hinges on the details within the press release they've referenced. Without those specific numbers here, it is hard to give a definitive judgment on their financial health or strategic direction. However, the act of filing and referencing a comprehensive press release indicates a commitment to transparency. We can infer that they are sharing their successes and any challenges encountered during 2025. The market's reaction to this news, as reflected in their stock price, will ultimately be a significant indicator of investor sentiment. Looking ahead, Nebraska SAR's future performance will likely depend on its ability to navigate the complexities of the global energy market, manage operational costs effectively, and capitalize on emerging opportunities. Their commitment to providing financial updates and holding investor calls suggests an active engagement with the financial community. Alright, that is our breakdown of what this NESR filing is all about. What's your take on companies releasing key financial details via press release and then referencing them in official filings? Drop your thoughts in the comments if this analysis was valuable. Hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.